I begin by carefully studying the finished painting, trying to capture not only the form, but also the mood of the image. Using a B2 pencil, I lightly outline the general shape of the face without getting into too much detail. I keep the lines soft, almost invisible, so I can easily make adjustments later. First, I define the axis of symmetry. This helps me correctly place the eyes, nose, and lips. Next, I outline the eyes. They play a key role in this work, so I devote more attention to them than the other elements. Then I add the nose and lips, subtly emphasizing their shape, but without excessive detail. I use an eraser not only for corrections, but also to lighten the lines, removing excess graphite saturation to keep the sketch clean and light. After that, I add characteristic touches, small lines that create emotionality in the face and a hint of hair. I don't draw everything completely, but leave room for artistic interpretation during the painting stage. The sketch turns out to be more of a guide than a strict outline. Once the sketch is ready, I move on to the most interesting part, working with acrylic. I use 3 brushes, a large and slightly larger than medium, a medium, and a fine one. I start with the background as it sets the tone for the entire painting. I take a large brush and boldly apply blue tones, mixing them directly on the canvas. I add contrasting strokes of red and black, creating dynamism and tension. My brush movements are free, sometimes even sharp. It's important to convey energy, not precision. The background remains vibrant, with visible brushstrokes. Next, I move on to the area below the face, the clothing. Here I use the same colors as in the background, but make them denser and more saturated. With a medium brush, I form large splashes of color, adding green and dark shades. This creates a sense of depth and a certain abstraction. I don't paint the hair classically. Instead, I continue to work with brushstrokes, weaving them into the background. The red and black lines create a sense of movement and chaos. Sometimes I take a thin brush and add sharp strokes to emphasize the direction. The face is the central element. I take a medium brush and fill it with a cool blue color. This creates a strong contrast with the warm tones around it. I add subtle transitions on top so that the face does not look flat. With a thin brush, I draw the eyes, nose, and lips. I make the eyes bright, almost glowing. The green color stands out against the blue background of the face. The lips are a rich red with a clear outline. I also add small strokes around the eyes and on the face. They give the work emotional intensity and a bit of drama. At the end, I may return to the background and add a few strokes to unite all the elements into a single composition. Critical assessment of the work. The result? Very strong color contrast. The cool face and warm background create a powerful visual effect. The eyes are the main focus. They attract attention and set the mood. The energy of the brushstrokes, the work is alive, not static, but rather moving. The emotional state, a little anxious, tense, is well conveyed. What could be improved? The facial proportions are a bit arbitrary. The symmetry could be more precise. The nose and mouth appear a bit simplified compared to the eyes. More volume could be added. The transition between the face and the background is abrupt in places. It could be softened to better blend the face. The hair reads more as abstraction. If realism is the goal, the shape should be refined. What to add/change? Subtle highlights on the face for volume. Shadows under the eyes and lips for depth. Perhaps add texture, for example, with a dry brush, to vary the surface. Style. The work is closest to expressionism with elements of abstraction. Emotion is more important here than precision. Who might like it? Lovers of contemporary art. Those who appreciate emotional, raw works. For people who like contrasting and bold color schemes.